Hello and welcome, Grind to Guru members. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful Tuesday, wherever you are. It may look like I'm launching this a little bit early, but actually we had a little bit of a time zone scheduling snafu. This was supposed to launch about a half hour ago, so totally catching up. And now we're here, and I can't wait to talk to you today about a project and a service that I'm launching that's been probably 8 months in the making now. And it is finally launching for prime time. And I am just so excited to be talking to you about it today. So if you're here, if you're in this group, it means that you are ready for more. It means that you're ready for more from your career as a digital analyst or marketer or CRO or SEO or data scientist or anyone who is working with data sets and is responsible for communicating those insights to your organizations, to your stakeholders, and to your clients. And what you might be noticing is that there are some people who are crushing it in these presentations of valuable insights. And then there are others, and maybe this is you, maybe not, who are struggling to really make those connections meet for your audiences. Maybe your audience is checking out or falling asleep or asking really confused questions or the same questions again and again. And by the time that you leave that presentation, you're just not sure that your insights had the valuable impact that you were hoping for. And that really crucial thing that is the point of all of these presentations is to generate that action, to galvanize people into actually doing something about that. But you just don't see anything happening. And that is what I call, it's a strange astronomical phenomenon that I call the data black hole. It's like you can watch all that valuable work that you've done, pivoting numbers and crunching, all kinds of data from all of your platforms. And you know that those valuable insights are in there, but you just can't seem to get people to care about them or do anything about it. So as an experienced digital analyst of 12 years, I was noticing the same exact thing. I would go in there and I knew my data was solid, well vetted, very thoroughly researched. And I brought in these voluminous presentation decks with so many numbers because I would just bring the kitchen sink with me. And I knew that there had to be something in there that they would act upon and like. So it was like throwing a bunch of data spaghetti against a wall. But the problem is the data spaghetti approach doesn't work with how the human brain consumes and wants to act on information. That is the fundamental gap that we're missing when we come into the workforce and we start presenting information. We are not given certain tools for the visual and verbal communication of data that taps into how the brain operates. So after I spent 12 years as an analyst, I found some very important data that I did not want to fly into the black hole. I knew that we had to act on it as a team. So I went into a huge deep dive into the art and science of data communication. And I found that I was doing so many patterns of designing slides a certain way and not having a narrative and not knowing how to use specific kinds of language for motivation and persuasion. And the same thing was happening again and again. The drool, the glazed eyeballs, the arguments over and over. And once I started applying these principles to my work, I realized that this is a huge piece of training that we're missing as practitioners who are presenting data. They don't give us this information when we go to analyst school. And even beyond that, our stakeholders aren't taught how to consume that data and extract the maximum amount of value from it as consumers. And it is our job as presenters to help meet them where they are to extract that value, as is said by my friends Chris and Zach Shemignani of Juice Analytics, who wrote an amazing book called Data Fluency. So Once I realized that this was happening and I started putting all these tools together, I realized that there could be one singular framework for approaching the entire process. And I made it my mission to empower as many practitioners as I possibly could with that framework, something comprehensive that was at the intersection of presentation, data visualization, storytelling, and the kinds of analytics data that we work with. Because I am you. I have worked with that digital data for so many years that I know what the nuances are when we're working with data like that. And if you're not exactly working with digital data, market research, that's okay too, because so many of my principles are applicable to so many kinds of data that it can truly be translated to whatever it is you are working on. So why I'm going live today is because my web class launches this Thursday. Now, this may be one of the final times that I actually run it live. So I want to tell you what some of the benefits of the live class are. So I will be giving this class to you as if you are a student who's right there with me in a classroom, just like my private workshops. You are able to ask any question you want during these live runs. There is a chat and you'll be meeting other practitioners like yourself. And there's going to be interactive exercises that I'll be walking you through, and you can get feedback on those exercises in real time. Now, just in case you can't make one or more of the live classes, don't worry, because if you sign up, you still have lifetime access to those recordings and all of the materials. So part of the benefit that I give with this is you get a comprehensive worksheet booklet that has all of the checklists, all of the interview questionnaires, the reading lists, the frameworks for the entire toolbox that I'm teaching, plus bonus checklists that are just thrown in from my private workshop that isn't included in this class. You get all of that. It's my full vault of tools. And let me tell you, that vault is probably worth the price of the class on its own. So how the web class works is there are 3 main class modules. They run this coming Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. The following Tuesday, also at 2 p.m. Eastern, and that following Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. It's broken up so that you have a chance to integrate the learnings and catch up on all your work in between classes. The first one's an hour and a half, the second one's an hour, and the third one's an hour and a half. And let me tell you, those classes are an absolute fire hose of information. There is so much that you're going to learn about persuasive communication and brainstorming and how to look at your stakeholders from a needs place and assess what it is they need and want to be successful. So that just so much information is packed in, you won't believe it. And along with that, you will also get access to a private Slack channel where you can meet and greet your fellow classmates, and you have direct access to me, whether you were able to make the live class or not. You can always watch the class afterwards and ask any question you want. I will answer every question in the Slack channel. And you can even post your work for feedback in there. That's a really valuable service that, again, could be worth the price of the class alone. So I want to quickly touch on what is available in each of those modules so you have a sense. And if you're ready to check it out now, the link is in this post. It is leahpica.com/bootcamp. So let's talk a little bit about what you would get in every class session. So on Thursday, where we start is very often where we skip over this very important step in the presentation process, which is called conceptualizing or planning and brainstorming. So sometimes we tend to jump right into doing all of the designing, dropping in the data, making the charts pretty, but then we end up with this sort of shopping cart of jumbled data items, and then we don't have a cohesive narrative to allow people to pass those through one at a time when you're checking out right? It's way too much to handle. So some of the things that you're going to learn in Module 1 is really starting from a needs perspective, learning how to understand your stakeholders and what it is they're looking for, how to interview them, key interview questions to use to understand what those needs are and arrive at what would make that a successful meeting. An amazingly focused, easy to use brainstorming blueprint for looking at all of the information that you have and picking and choosing only the most relevant, powerful insights that are going to tie in to a really cohesive story. Then you're also going to learn my tools for brainstorming techniques and how to actually get all your thoughts into a digital format. So this piece is such a crucial step in the process, and we very often skip over it, but you will never approach how you plan a presentation the same way again once you have that. So the next piece, what we'd be going on Tuesday, which is Module 2. So this begins the visualizing and the designing segment. Very often, we are not given any training or understanding of visual design principles, and yet we are being asked to design this very important information and communicate it. So first, you're going to learn extremely simple and powerful design tools like color, type, alignment, simplicity, white space. You're going to learn how to leverage the power of imagery to create emotion and elicit compassion so that people remember and want to act on your information. You're going to learn some great time-saving productivity tricks. We can use PowerPoint. They can be used for Google Slides. Really super valuable because I want you to spend as much time prepping your content and analyzing, and at least time as possible actually designing the deck, right? So that will be day 2. Day 3 is the piece de resistance. It is data design and storytelling. So what this module includes is my patented top secret Pika protocol prescription. It is a practical, repeatable approach that you can use for healthy and actionable data storytelling. So you're going to learn the most effective data design principles, what the most common viz violations that we commit, and what alternative strategies are for situations like that, like dual axis bar charts and stacked bars, and having really busy charts and difficult to understand charts. You're going to learn how to choose the most appropriate charts for your data points. As a bonus, you're going to learn how to create handouts to solve for the problem that we all face, which is if I'm designing a presentation this way, for the human brain, what about the handout that I give afterwards? So can't tell you how transformative all 3 of these modules is going to be in your practice. Now, part of why I wanted to talk to you today is I wanted to find out, stick around for a second or two and see, are there any questions that you have about a training like this? I can tell you there is not a single training like this out there that I have, and I've really looked, because a lot of trainers will focus only on one element of this process. They'll only look at storytelling, they'll only look at presentation design, or they'll only look at data visualization. But this is designed to be a comprehensive toolbox that you walk away with that helps you starting the next day looking at your presentations completely differently. And it's not just presentations. Your data visualization toolbox is going to help you with better looking dashboards and clearer dashboards, because the Pika protocol can be applied to all different types of formats and venues. So I would love to know, and you can ask me now, you can leave a comment in this thread, but I would want to know, what are the kinds of things that would hold you back from approaching a training like this? We invest as analysts a lot of time training in Google Analytics and GTM and Adobe and learning how to use the actual tools for analyzing and extracting data. But ask yourself, what is it worth to you if you knew that your presentations would start helping you do things like navigate layoffs, survive layoffs and restructures in organizations, have more budget for increased analytical capabilities, be able to hire more personnel so that you can start traveling your path from just that reporting squirrel to thought leader and maybe subject matter expert in your industry. There is no ceiling to how far you can go when you learn how to communicate powerfully and effectively. So I want to know the kinds of things that would hold you back from taking a training like this, because I can tell you from the response that I've gotten from my original workshop students and my beta tester students that this was an extremely worthwhile investment. In fact, I'd love to read you some of their thoughts that they gave me. John said, Leah's web class has helped me dramatically improve my clients' reports and also helped inspire action from my clients. When I would typically do reporting in the past, my recommendations would tend to sit each month and weren't always acted upon. But by taking a more storytelling approach, I've been able to drive significant positive change in my clients' campaigns, which has helped them see growth at a faster pace and also helped my personal client retention. So if you're a solo consultant or you work in an agency, client turnover is a real problem, right? It is a real problem. And I know this, firsthand as a former agency analyst, how we were communicating. It didn't matter how much I thought we were bringing value. It was how much they perceived your work was valuable, in terms of continuing that investment. Mike said, one of the preeminent teachers and practitioners of the complex process of turning data into a story. Leah has a comprehensive method of taking what the data gives you, asking the difficult strategic questions, maintaining attention, becoming memorable, conceptualizing the story, and her established Pika protocol of bringing it all together. So, he is really nailing it on the head. You're not really going to find something that is this comprehensive out there. And Valerie says, I always knew how to make decks pretty, but Leah's workshop transformed the way I approach and deliver presentations. Her lessons are rooted in psychology, and I love the way it changed the conversation with stakeholders during readouts. If you attend her workshop, I promise you'll never look at bullets, slide count, or data visualization the same ever again. And I appreciate hearing these stories so much because when I started this mission as a trainer and speaker, the mission was to empower other analysts and practitioners with a toolbox that I wish I'd had when I'd started out. My career would have looked very different. I definitely struggled a lot. And then once this happened, that original story of that data that I found that was so important, once I presented it this way, not only did it restart a dormant site search optimization project that had been shelved, but it actually got us to expand our analytics platform capabilities. And I was able to hire 2 resources because that visibility was starting to create indispensability for me. And that's what I want for you. I want you to become indispensable wherever you go throughout your career. These tools will last throughout your career and beyond. So if you have any questions, first of all, if you know of any analysts or practitioners that might be interested in this, invite them to join this group, Grind to Guru. Make sure to throw a heart or a wow on this so that other people can make sure to see it. And again, check it out at leahpika.com/bootcamp. You still have a day and a half to register. If you can't make those sessions, you have lifetime access. And I just want to, I have a question. So I have 2 questions. I work with old school engineers that are resistant to changing their ways. How do I teach them and convince them that storytelling is a more effective way of presenting to the owners? Okay, that is one of the most common questions that I get. And that is one of the great things that you can ask during the training. I can't answer it fully now, but what I can tell you is that I have a number of strategies of ways to help more resistant stakeholders acclimate to what it is you're trying to communicate to them. Like I said before, Stakeholders aren't taught how to consume the data. They only know the way that data has been presented to them. And any kind of change is scary, whether it's good or not. Change is hard for the human brain. So I definitely have some strategies available in the class for helping push that change through. And you can rest assured that you're not alone in that challenge. The second question is, how do I change their mind about cluttered, text-heavy slides? I definitely have some strategies for that in the class as well. I can give you kind of a sneak peek. One of them would be to test 2 different versions and ask them how clear something is. A lot of times people are attached to cluttered text-heavy slides because they think that there's only one way to approach a slide, which is to shove everything on at once. They don't know about a very specific strategy that I teach that is used by the most influential gurus of presentation, like Nancy Duarte and Gar Reynolds. They don't know about this very specific approach to it, again, because they don't know any other way. So what I teach is a solution to that approach, but in the class, we'd be able to have a much deeper conversation about the strategies that you need to help change their mindset. I hope that answers your question. So rest assured that would be covered. So again, if you have any other questions, be sure to drop them into the comments of this thread. I'm happy to answer anything, but that clock is ticking. So I can't wait to see what your questions are. I truly hope you'll give this some consideration. If you feel that you're having trouble convincing your boss, there is a resource on the bootcamp page that I just shared that you can download. It's a letter you can download and customize yourself to really understand, help them understand what the value is going to be, because this is an investment. It's not just an investment in you, it's not just a cost or a fee, but it's an investment in you. And it's also an investment in their investment in you as a resource. So help them remember that. And you are most welcome. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I hope this helped answer any questions you might have had about the training. And I'm so excited to see you there. So take care. And for now, namaste.